Hey, it's Noelle from Country Credits. I'm here with Karley Scott Collins, an emerging artist, but also a songwriter, and she dabbles with production. So it's super great to have you here with us. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Great. Yeah. So I pretty much wanted to, I guess, delve into the whole back end of like how you got into country music and your upbringing and go through all that just to bring everyone up to speed if they aren't familiar with it.
Yeah.
I know you're not initially from Nashville and you have a diverse musical background. You're into a bunch of different things, which is probably a benefit to you.
Right.
So if you want to just kind of elaborate on that and we'll start from there.
Um, yeah, so I grew up in Florida, actually on the Florida-Georgia line, which
That's
is
so funny.
um, but I really loved growing up there. I think like it's a really southern place, and so there's country music was around my entire childhood. That's pretty much all anybody listens to where I come from. But for me, in my household, my dad would play a lot of like hard rock and heavy metal music when I was growing up. So that was more of my childhood really, was like getting in the car with him and him turning on like LA Guns or Metallica or something like that when I was like 5 years old. Um, so I actually really grew up like idolizing like Axl Rose and people like that. At least in a music sense. But when I got a little bit older, I got a record player, and my nana is like a massive country music fan, especially old school country. And she got me a stack of records like this big. And one of the records that was in the stack was Willie Nelson Greatest Hits. And it was one of the first records I ever got. And I really, really fell in love with it. And when I turned about 11, I had already been playing guitar since I was 9, but when I turned around 11, 12, I started singing in church, started writing some songs, and that record and some of the other country records I heard were my biggest inspirations for writing on my own. Uh,
Nice.
so that's kind of how I got started writing.
So there was never vocal lessons and all of that. It was more so that's awesome because your voice
Yeah,
is so like memorable. So that's
thank
interesting to
you.
hear
Yeah,
that.
well, speaking of my Axl Rose, that's what my dad, when I started singing, he used to tell me when I would do a song or something, he'd be like, "You got to put some Axl Rose on it." And so that's the advice.
So awesome. That was your lessons.
Yep, that was the
So
lessons.
great. So then wasn't it so it was a publishing deal that brought you initially to Nashville, right? How did that did like Warner just find you on their own? Like how did that happen?
No, actually. So, where I grew up, there's I feel like there's a good amount of people that are trying to do this. There's a lot of festivals and stuff, and people kind of get to know each other. And I had some friends that were doing it back home that had started to take trips up here to write and like actually, make a career out of it. And honestly, like I was just, having a good time, like playing a lot at home, and I was like, wait, I can go and actually like this can be like a job,
Yeah.
writing and everything. And so they were up here writing, and I decided to take a couple trips and write with them and some other people they knew. And I was at a publishing company in town. It wasn't Warner, actually. And I was playing them a song that I had written, and one of the publishers happened to walk by and hear the song. And they ended up reaching out and asking if they could get a meeting, which was really cool. They ended up offering me a publishing deal, and my dad was like, "Well, I guess we need a lawyer." Um, so he literally Googled best lawyers in Nashville on the internet, and we found my lawyer, who really is probably one of the best lawyers in Nashville, Scott Safford. I love him. Um, and
So
so, yeah, so he took me around to a couple other meetings. Warner being one of them, who I really fell in love with. And they offered me a deal after that, and I ended up signing with them.
that's really fantastic. It takes some people like 10 years just sitting in town writing after write. That's incredible. So you weren't even
I
living there.
No, I was not. So so then I was like, well, I live in Nashville now.
And how old were you then?
I was 19 then.
So like, okay, so were you in college or was this just like I want to do music type thing or
I was really close to getting my AA, but I just did like community college back home. I was like, I'm still 2 credits away from it. I really should probably finish it at some point so I can say I graduated college. But no, at that point, yeah, I was like, this is what I want to do. I had already been playing back home for years and writing songs all the time, playing my guitar all the time. So I had been working towards it for a long time without realizing that I was working towards moving here. And so,
Exciting.
yeah, so it worked out.
Wow, that's really exciting. Awesome. So if we were to jump forward now into some of the bigger things that everyone's talking about, which you've been named CMT's Next Woman of Country, which was that a total shock? Because that's a big deal. That's so
Yeah, actually, CMT Next Woman of Country is something that I've been like watching and being a fan of since I moved here. And it was on my goal list actually for this year. I made like a list of things that were like, you know, my dream things that I wanted to do. And so it's something that like I was really excited about. And then when they called and said they were going to include me, I was super, super pumped and really grateful. Still surreal. I think it's really cool.
That's a big deal. And there's so many
Yeah.
great women on that. So that's really an
Yeah.
honor. But anyway, so heavy metal was like your big track. I guess it was late 2023, right? It wasn't even 2024 yet. Yeah. So
November.
yeah, and that's super, super deep meaning. And I don't know if you want to jump into like the songwriting part of that and like how long it took to write something like that and where the emotion behind it started.
It technically took several months to write it because I had had the title heavy metal for months because I like heavy metal music and I thought it would be a cool song title. I literally
It was
just
just
put
like
in
in
my
your
notes.
phone, one of those in your notes.
Yes, oh my God, if you saw my notes app, you would
That's what
it's
every
literally like
songwriter tells me. They're like, you gotta just see this stuff.
yeah, yeah, it's ridiculous. But so I just had it, you know, had it in there for a while, didn't know what it was going to be about. I had actually thrown that title out in a couple of writes and just wasn't the right room, I guess. And I didn't have at that point what it was going to be about. I'm just like, oh, I just have this title. I don't know what it is, but it's heavy metal. And people are like, yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't know. Let's see if we can throw out some other titles. Anyway, so one of my really good friends got married at 20 years old. Really young, didn't know him well enough, and they were still kind of in the honeymoon phase. And after they got married, it just went south. And the way that we were raised, we were all raised pretty religious, and so with that comes, you know, you get married and you stay married no matter what. That's just how it is. You're not supposed to get a divorce. And that was where her mindset was. And she would call me like the song says 3 wine glasses on a Wednesday. That the when I finally wrote some of the lyrics to the verse for that, she was on her couch on her third wine glass on a Wednesday night crying when she FaceTimed me.
Goodness.
And so the dots connected then about the ring she was wearing being the heavy metal that was weighing her down. And I took that idea to KK Johnson and Sam Backoff. It was the first time we'd ever met. I hadn't even met either of them. And I was like, well, I have this really depressing idea. And thankfully they loved it. We wrote it. And I loved that song since the day we wrote it. So I'm excited it's out and that so many people related to it. I think that's probably my song with the most people relating to it so far, especially on like social media and stuff. It's been really
I
cool.
mean, well over 1 million streams, and it's not, I mean, it seems like, oh, last year, but it was only a couple months ago. Like,
Yeah.
that's really
Yeah,
impressive.
sure.
Yeah. And then, so then Marlboro Red.
Yeah.
That was a big Reds. That was a big deal when that I was listening to the highway and I didn't expect, like, I didn't know you were gonna be on the highway. And I was like, oh my
Oh,
goodness, that is so exciting. So that was
yeah.
your first like highway debut, right? Which is another, is
Yes.
that
Yeah.
another goal on your list?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. That one was one, yeah, that was a really exciting. When I finally actually heard it on the highway, I cried. That's really cool. I mean, that's something that everybody's like wants to get to that point, you know, where you get your music on Sirius XM. So that was awesome. And my Nana, who the song is about, was very pumped about that too.
Yeah. So for those that like don't know, do you want to recap that story again too?
Sure. Yeah. So, uh, Marlboro Reds is about my grandmother, who I call my Nana. She has smoked Marlboro Reds my entire life. My cousin and I used to hide her cigarettes when we were growing up, and she would get so mad. But she's one of the funniest people I know. Like, I mean, she drinks Patron, she smokes cigarettes, she cusses like a sailor, and somehow she still just manages to be like the cutest person in the world.
Like a
Um,
real lady
and
underneath it
so
all. Yeah.
huh?
Like a real lady underneath it all.
Yeah, of course, exactly, and she's one of my favorite people on the planet, and I had wanted to write a song about her for
Oh,
forever because I just feel like like when I talk to her, every time I talk to her, I'm like, this is a ridiculous, crazy story. I love it. It needs to be a song. And so I brought the idea. I didn't have a title. I just went into the write with Alex Klein, who's one of my favorite co-writers of all time, and Scott Stepikoff. And I was just like, I want to write a song about my Nana.
Mm-hmm.
This is her life. This is how she is. And Alex was like, well, I have a song title. She had like a different brand of cigarettes or something. She's like, I've been thinking about this. And I was like, oh my God, Marlboro Reds. That's it. And so that one, we had a lot of fun writing it because like it was just like things that I didn't even remember about Nana that like we were having the right. And I'm like, oh my God, guys, guess what Nana did this time, this one time. And it was just fun. It was cool.
Aw, it's an
Yeah.
amazing song. Yeah,
Thank
congrats on that
you.
one. That's such
Thank you.
a song.
When I played it for her for the first time, I was scared to death because she also is not, she won't sugarcoat anything. If she hadn't have liked it, she would have just been like, all right, well,
Aw,
that ain't, it's not your best, but
really? Wow.
but she actually loved it. I posted a video of her hearing it for the first time and she just laughed the whole time. She loves it.
That is so sweet. That's so special that you have that like forever. It's a song.
Yeah,
It's amazing. That's such a good.
yeah,
So nowadays, was your typical day spent like writing
yep.
most? Yes, okay. Or I was gonna say, how much time are you spending with writer rooms versus artistry stuff and managing all the different facets that you're involved in?
I mean, I don't write much when I'm on the road, besides like putting ideas in my phone and everything. But when I'm in Nashville, I'm writing 5 days a week, for the most part. So, but I mean, I think of the writing as artist stuff because I don't cut anything I didn't write, you know? So it's like, and writing is easily, besides maybe playing live, is my favorite part of my career. I mean, there's nothing I love more than the magic of getting in a writer's room and that feeling that really is kind of rare. I mean, the people say all the time, like you write 100 bad songs for one great one, but that one great one that's just like the most magical feeling. I live for that. So I'm in a writer's room as much as I can with people that I really love. And then of course, like, you know, in the studio and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
But
I love that you said that about writing because now, like, what separates country music is always the lyrics.
yeah.
And being that that's really cool that you're not gonna cut someone else's songs and always
Yeah.
having that tie to it is gonna keep you.
Yeah, I just think it's always been really important to me for it to have to feel authentic to me, and I think like writing it is a good way to keep that authenticity. Yeah.
Was it like scary getting used to co-writing, being that you were
Oh
kind of
yeah.
home? Yeah, and it seemed like you
Mhm.
wrote a lot by yourself and then
Yeah.
yeah.
I hadn't co-written one time before I moved to Nashville. Well, actually, that's a lie. I did. I attempted to co-write with someone I knew back home, and it was the most awkward experience I've ever
Oh
had
my
in my
God.
life. So then I was even more nervous when I moved here, and I was like, I gotta do this every day. Like, but I mean, yeah, I think when you're writing by yourself, the co-writing experience in Nashville, and I'm sure it's the same in LA and everywhere else, is such a different experience than it is when you're alone. Like back home, I would come up with an idea for a song, I'd write, you know, whatever part of it came to me that day, and maybe it takes me a week to finish the song.
Right.
But, you know, here in Nashville, it's like you show up at 11 and you're done with the song by 3:30 with a recorded demo.
Yeah.
Like it goes so fast here and it's a different one every single day. So that took a lot of getting used to because I was very used to like thinking and overthinking every line that I put into something. But I think that it's been really, I've learned so much and it's been really amazing for me to find the people that I feel like really understand me and that I think have a really unique view of the world and really cool things to say. And I feel like it's added a lot. So I love co-writing now. But it was a lot.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. So how did it come to be when you signed with Sony? Like, was that another just kind of like it all fell into place, or was that a
Yeah, pretty much actually when I had gotten that first publishing deal offer, we decided to go take a couple label meetings too, at that time and I fell in love with Sony and
Mhm.
I guess they fell in love with me. And so yeah, so I signed with them and I love them. They've been amazing champions. And
Mhm.
they are really great about letting me do what feels authentic to me. I mean, I've never never felt like I needed to change what I was doing, which is really cool to feel like that.
Yeah, and there's so many people behind like talking about everyone involved in pursuing someone's artistry career. There's like like we were
Gosh.
saying, the publicist, the management, there's
Yeah.
the tour
Agents.
crew.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's there's so many people involved, and it's really great to sounds like you have a really great team behind you.
Oh, absolutely. I can't thank anyone on my team enough. I genuinely love everyone who is on my team as part of my career, and I look forward to seeing them every time I go there, which is like, it is really nice because, I mean, when you come from like a small town and you're going to sign with like a big record label, it is kind of scary, you know, but like they feel like family, which I am really grateful for that.
Yeah, that's the great thing about Nashville. Like not every genre kind of has that
Yeah,
town vibe within it, but Nashville always does. I'm
for
from
sure.
New York, so it's very different initially coming
Oh,
to
I bet.
Nashville, you know, like but
Yeah.
Nashville's very special like that.
Yeah, it is very special. I think it would have been more jarring for me to like have moved to LA or New York or something because it's like I'm still in the South. It's just a slightly bigger South.
So, getting involved with Nathan Chapman must have been a big deal again because he's done a
Yeah,
lot of he's worked with Eric Church and Taylor Swift and so many big names. So,
yeah,
how do you feel about the whole production end of it? And I know you're getting more involved with co-producing
yeah.
and there's a lot that's going to drop. So, if you want to give us insight onto like how you're getting involved with that end of things.
Yeah, so Nathan and I have been working together almost since kind of my day one here in Nashville. He was one of my first co-writes here, and I had admired his work for a long time. Of course, like you're saying, he's done stuff with Keith Urban that I love. He's done stuff with all of those people that I love. And so he was someone that he was the first person that it clicked with me that was like, he understands what I want to say and how I want to say it. And I write with him as much as I can. But I also think he is so ridiculously talented with like the instrumentation and production side of things. He was the first person I ever worked with production wise. And I spent the first 5 songs I recorded just watching and paying attention because I had no idea what I was doing, you know, with like any of the production stuff. And I think like it takes some time to build confidence too. And like, you
Mhm.
know, you think you know what you want as an artist and you're like, this is the direction I want to go. But at the same time, like, you do have to like, it takes some time to build that where it's like, I know this is where I want to go. And so I watched Nathan, I learned from him for a long time. And then when we recorded Hands on the Wheel, I took a little bit more of a front seat in the process as far as like, okay, let's like, what if we do a guitar like this and let's turn the bass down here? Let's add this kind of kick drum there. And I didn't realize I was
Yeah,
co-producing
so
it, honestly.
involved.
Yeah, it really wasn't like intentional, but Nathan called me and he was like, "Hey, like I really feel like we should list you as co-producer because you know, you've worked really hard on this song." And I was like, I kind of love that title. Let's do that. And just being more involved with it because I really do like to have my hands involved in every aspect. I mean, for a long time, I was painting the cover art.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, I painted the cover art for Heavenly and
Cool.
tattoos and Hands on the Wheel. Actually, I
Yeah, I did
painted.
not know that. That is
Yeah,
so
you can check it
cool.
out after. But so yeah, so I just like to be involved in everything. So it was really nice for me to be able to like listen, zoom in, and like, I mean, change all the little tiny things from like tone and all of that. So that's what I've done the last several songs I've done. Did it on heavy metal. I was just about to list a title that's not out yet. I was about heavy metal, but Marlboro Reds and another song that's gonna come out soon. And we just got out of the studio doing a few more. So I really love that a lot.
What do can you say anything about what's coming this year?
Um, I'm gonna release a song really soon. Like scarily soon, actually. I've got to
Okay.
get my ducks in a row. But
Um,
I've got the thing I'm most excited about for this year is some collaborations. I've
hmm.
got some duets I'm working on that I am really, really pumped about. And I would love to just tell you right now so everybody knows so I can talk about it, but I can't.
So exciting.
Yeah, so that's what I'm most excited about.
Everything is happening for you this year already, and it's
It's
only
been a really
April.
good year. Yeah, I mean, I just finished we did a little tour in Europe. I just got back from that. That was awesome.
Yes, and I wanted to literally, like, give a nod to you opening for Willie. I mean, that is literally insane. Who gets
It
to
was literally insane. Yeah.
so when did you just get a call one day and they're like, "You're opening for Willie Nelson," or
Yeah, literally, I was riding with, the same people I wrote Marlboro Reds with, and my agent texted me, and I mean, we talk sometimes, but I just knew it was weird. He was like, "Hope you're having a good day," which is, like, really random. I'm like, "What do you?"
Yeah.
So I just said, "Hope you're having a good day too," and he was like, "Can I make it better?" And I was like, so I called him, and he was like, "You're opening for Willie Nelson," and I was like, "Oh my god!" But so that's how I found out. Um,
Mhm.
but I mean, like I said at the beginning of this, I've literally been listening to Willie since I was a
Right?
kid.
That's
So
that's wild.
yeah, really amazing. And he wore my merch shirt on stage during his set one night, which was really
Did
cool.
your grandma get to, like, experience any of that? Because she was the one that gave
She
you the record, right?
Yeah, she came to the last show and they let her sit on the side of the stage and watch, like, while he
What?
sang and
Oh
everything,
my
so
gosh. Wow.
yeah, and she was like and I got to sing with him at the end of his set
Oh
every
my
night,
goodness.
so she got to be there on the side of the stage while I sang
What?
with him,
Wow. I am
which
such a
was
Willie
like
fan, that's amazing.
yeah, he is a really, really nice person. I think that, like, if I mean, he's been doing this for 70 years or something. I mean, he's 92, and for him to still take the time that he took to be as kind to me as he was and, like, wear my shirt on stage and all of that stuff, it's just, like, that's really inspiring to me because, of course, you can be inspired by the lyrics, the music, and his career, but, honestly, the time he took inspired me as a person too for, like, if I'm ever lucky enough to get to a point in my career that he's at, that's how I treat people who are in my position because that was, like, so cool to
I'll
me.
never forget that, yeah. That's
Yeah, and, like, I will literally remember that until I'm 92, you know? Like,
oh,
so I
exactly.
think that's really cool.
And then the Larry Fleet so you had Larry Fleet and you've stuff with Nate Smith. Do you have a
Yeah.
favorite memory on the road or a favorite part of being on the road?
Honestly, my favorite part of being on the road with Larry is that he gave me a lot of advice that has been really helpful to me. He was really, really kind to me too. Larry I felt like family with him and his band by the end of that tour. I'm such a fan of him and his music and
Those
him as a person too. But we sang Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys together on his tour. And that was one of my favorite things to do. I loved that moment. But that was my first full tour
Mhm.
ever. Was the one with him. And just getting to like everybody's like, being in the van really sucks. Like, hey, just wait till you get a tour bus. But honestly, being stuck in a van at like 4 in the morning with my band, making jokes that I don't want to hear is like one of the most fun things to do. I love my band, so that like getting to spend time with them like that in different states was like so much fun.
They're cool. Let's give your band a shout out. So who's in your band?
So I've got Jake Flaw on electric guitar. He is like also like one of my best friends. I love him. Bobby Grossbeck's playing bass. Every night we did a cover of The Chain by Fleetwood Mac, and they have this like crazy bass solo in it. And he
Yeah,
would like stand on this box and just like, it was like his moment. He loved that.
love that.
And then I have Wesley Tweed on drums, who is fantastic, and I love him too. They're great guys and they're so talented.
Yeah. So did you guys all meet up in Nashville when once you moved there? Or
Well, actually, I had to. So when I got that tour, I found out I got it in probably June, and we left in the beginning of September. And I didn't have a band at that point, really. I had just had like, some people, and I had just been playing acoustic for the most part so I needed a band like ASAP. So I just asked around to some friends. I asked around to some musicians that I did know, and they sent me all of these people. I probably had like 40 people that I texted about if they'd want to play. And I got like different videos of them playing some of my songs and kind of watched all of them, really thought it through. And those were the guys that I picked.
that's so awesome.
Yeah.
So do you have like a dream tour or a dream write, like different people to write with or different people to just sing with?
Oh yeah, Chris Stapleton would be the one that I would like. I don't even know if I could write with him because I would be so starstruck. But I would love that. Dream Tour, obviously like him too, but probably like Keith Urban, I think would be
Mhm.
really cool. I love him, been listening to him since I was a kid too. So I would love to be on that tour for sure.
Yeah, that is so awesome. Yeah, so as far as like what's to come, do you have anything as far as like rights booked that like how many songs do you have that you want to release versus you actually will release? Like how many if people ask me a lot of times, how many songs do these songwriters write? But it's like hundreds, it's so many.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
many do you have like that you wish you can release versus if you drop an album, say soon or something, like how hard is it to pick the songs you release? I guess I'm getting at.
Oh, it's so hard to pick the songs I release, but I think when I'm looking at a project, I try to think of it as ones that seem like they fit in together. So I have some that, like maybe it makes a project in the future that has a slightly different vibe. But I mean, I definitely have written hundreds of songs, but I have like a folder of songs that I really love. That's like a lot smaller number. I don't know, probably 40 songs right now that I haven't, recorded or put out. And then I've got a stack of some that are recorded that are ready to go.
You seem like you're like, I like you want to say things so bad, but you can't.
Yeah, exactly. No, I have in my head, I've got this like entire plan for everything that's coming up, but I just can't tell you yet.
You have like one piece of advice that you would drop for one songwriters and then two artists. I know some people come to town, they just want to be a writer, so that's why I ask like individually, but I guess
Yeah,
it can be both.
I think the advice that I had to learn, I think it probably applies to both writers and artists. So when I first moved to town, I had a meeting with a label, not the one I ended up signing with, and they told me that my music wasn't down the middle enough and that I needed to like try to be a little bit more like everybody else. And my mom, when I got in the car, I was like, that kind of sucks, and she was like, look at me. And she was like, everyone you love, all of the musicians you admire did not get where they were at by trying to be like everyone else. They stood out and they rose to the top because they had something unique that people hadn't heard before that made people interested in what they were doing. And she gave me this whole pep talk, and I was like, this makes sense. And I stuck to what I was doing, and I ended up getting a record deal with a company that I love and tours that I love and putting out music that I'm proud of. And I think that like that is the most important thing is like finding something that makes you unique and sticking to it no matter when someone tells you no, because eventually someone's going to tell you yes because they understand what you're going for. And I think that applies to songwriters, writers, and artists. But like it is true that like all of my favorite musicians had something unique that now people are copying them, because it was cool.
And now it's like it's created this wide openness in the genre. Like anything is kind of accepted, but they
Yeah.
weren't like that years ago at all. So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm sure that Morgan Wallen, like I love his music, but it's so different than what was out before he came out. So
mm,
I think like it definitely is really important to have your own thing.
yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
So I pretty much wrap up all my interviews with the same three questions just to get everyone's taste on it.
Okay.
So three questions. They're not even super music related, but they kind of are. But
Okay.
favorite up and coming artist, favorite artist of all time, and then favorite place to hang out in Nashville.
Okay. Favorite up and coming artist. I don't know if this counts as an up and coming artist, actually. I mean, I do love Nate Smith. I think he's
Oh
super
yeah.
talented. And
Oh,
also
like he did
really,
just have that crazy run of number one. So
yeah,
it's
ridiculous.
already gotten.
Unbelievable. I also really like Tyler Childers, but I just don't know if either one of them count as like truly up and coming like that. But anyways, whatever.
Okay, we'll say that.
So those are my answers. And then favorite artist of all time.
Willie, I don't even know.
He's probably one of them, but I was gonna say Bob Dylan actually, because I really love him. He's one of my favorite songwriters. So I guess I'll say Bob Dylan or Stevie Nicks. Um,
Really, I'm seeing Willie Nelson play with Bob Dylan.
oh my God, I know about this festival and I want to go so
I
bad.
am so excited. Like,
Are you
yeah,
going, what city are you going in?
actually in New York. So it's like
Okay.
literally, it's gonna be right on the beach, actually, which is so exciting.
So cool. And Robert Plant's on it too, I think, from Led Zeppelin,
I think so, yes.
which is
And I'm
crazy.
like, I literally like, I actually, because my dad's a big Willie fan, and I like when I heard about it, I was like, Dad,
We,
we don't have plans this day. Like we are going. So yeah,
yeah. Okay. Well, you need to let me know how it is. I'm gonna try to go in Atlanta actually,
let's
because that's,
definitely go.
um,
Sorry to cut you off.
okay, but last question, right, is, wait, what is it? Favorite place to hang out in Nashville?
Okay.
Uh, this is gonna be the lamest answer you've ever gotten, I'm sure, probably. But my
Someone say
favorite
their
place,
house.
huh?
I've had someone say their house, so I don't know.
Okay, that might be a little more lame than mine. My favorite place to hang out in Nashville is a bookstore in Franklin. It's called Landmark Booksellers.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
because I have like a sickness with books. I read all the time. I have, you can't see it, but this table behind me is like stacked with probably 50 books on it. Um, so I hang out there and I waste money. And that's my favorite thing to do.
So awesome. No, that's a great answer. I haven't had anyone say that.
Okay, well, good.
Okay. We're so excited to see everything that comes your way, and we will be keeping an eye out for this song that's about to drop at some point. But
Yeah.
yes, and thank you so much for jumping on.
Thank you so much for having me. It was fun.
Thank you.